Assalamualaikum dear students. Our today's topic for discussion is a lesson The Many and the None, written by Bansuri, Taneja and Ashish kothari. This is lesson number 8 of Chinor 1st 11th class English. In today's lesson we will discuss para 2 and 3 at page 76 of this lesson. So now let us start. Let me first read the text and then we will try to discuss it. I will try to explain it. Let me first read the text. Perhaps the least obvious aspect of biodiversity is genetic variety in what constitutes the basic building blocks of all life is also the base of continuous evolution. And we should not forget that we humans are a product of the same process, even if we sometimes, in our technological bravado, think we are apart from nature. Diversity in genes also provide the basis for continued survival in the face of new or changing environments. When the number of lions or orangutans or of a plant species decreases, these species lose their resilience to environmental changes or to genetic decay and eventually succumb. At another level, this fact comes home to us when we realize that vegetables are losing their distinctive tastes, having lost their natural variation and having been doctored to reach the biggest size possible or attain the closest exterior. Their genetic diversity is coded to serve the function of yield maximization and to suit our increasingly environmental view of what looks good. Let me tell you the meaning of some difficult words. There are some difficult words. First word is bravado. Bravado means being brave, particularly when unnecessary. Now there is another word that is resilience. Resilience means the ability to quickly return to a previous good condition. The ability to quickly return to a previous good condition. Now there is another word that is succumb. Succumb means give in. Another word is that is correlated, that is silenced. Now let me explain this para, the meaning of this para. A writer says that perhaps the last obvious side of biodiversity is genetic. It means that the least obvious side of biodiversity is related to genes. That says that variety in the basic building blocks of life is also the base of continuous evolution. We humans are a product of the same process of evolution. But sometimes we feel proud of our technological superiority. Then we start thinking that we are apart from nature. It is diversity in genes which also provides the basis for continued survival against changing environment. Wright says that when the number of species of an animal or a plant decreases, when the number of species of an animal or a plant decreases, these species lose their strength and ability to come back to their previous condition in the face of changes in environment or genetic decay. That says, when the number of species of an animal or a plant decreases, these species lose their strength and ability to come back to their previous condition in the face of changes in environment or genetic decay. That says these declining species give into the changes around and become extinct. This loss makes some vegetables lose their characteristic tastes. Due to the loss of natural variation, their genetic diversity becomes silent. That says yield is maximized. Yield is maximized, but genetic diversity is lost. That says if vegetables are doctored, they may attain bigger size. They may attain bigger size, but their distinctive tastes are lost. Now, para 3 or at page 76. Let me first read the para, text of the para. The word biodiversity is often heard in connection with how it is fast disappearing. The call has been sounded frequently that if humanity is not careful, we are going to lose the fiber of planet that makes life possible. Some of us might be familiar with the simile about the ship that is losing one nut at a time. Each step does not seem to be a significant loss in itself, but lose enough of them and ship is surely going to sink. We are slowly and surely losing species of genes that keep the earth afloat. In time, if we are not able to halt this decline, this ship is this ship will sink. There are already signs of manifested. There are already signs of this manifested by a series of global changes in climate, hydrological patterns, and other ecological functions that we all survive on, and by the collapse of global fisheries, the desertification of 10 millions of hectares of once productive land, the loss of soil, nutrition, and so on. Not all these are caused by diversity loss, but such loss is a significant factor in triggering or aggravating these phenomena. Let me explain the meaning. Let me explain this para. Dear students, the author have given us a very good illustration to explain to us the alarming reality about biodiversity of life on earth. That says, writer explains us with an example. He says, when a sheep loses one nut, the loss seems very minor. When a sheep loses one nut, this loss seems very minor. But if the sheep goes on losing nut after nut, the loss becomes now alarming. The sinking of the ship then seems a foregone conclusion. It seems that this ship will now sink. In the same way, if we go on losing species and genes that sustain the earth, our survival will be impossible. That says, global changes in climate, hydrological patterns, and other ecological functions on which we all survive continue to assume threatening proportions. That says, these warnings are not to be taken non-seriously. These are the warnings, and we should not take these warnings non-seriously. We should take them serious. It will be dangerous to forget that biological diversity is closely linked to our lives. Right? It is fact. And it is very dangerous if we forget to uh, to forget that the biological if we forget that biological diversity is closely linked to our lives. We should not forget it. We should keep it in mind. We should understand it. In all the respects, we should understand that this biological diversity, it is closely linked to our lives, and the loss of the biodiversity will affect us and the coming generation. If we lose the biodiversity, it will not only affect us, but it will also affect our generation. So we can say this biodiversity is our future. We have to maintain it, we have to think about it, and we have to see what are the steps that we as an individual, as a community, as a group should take so that this biodiversity will not be affected in future. We should not be selfish to think that the earth is meant to serve our needs. As we are capable of thinking and feeling, we must realize that loss of biological diversity will have its negative impact on the rest of living world as well. Thank you very much.